Hello and welcome. I have one question for you. Do you want to build a snowman? Frozen 2 has finally arrived and it's been enough time that I was excited to see it. I have reviewed Frozen before and it is a very, very amazing movie, but it was just overhyped. And so unfortunately, I didn't enjoy it as much because of the overhype. But since it's been 6 years, I was excited to get on a new adventure with Elsa and Anna again, and it was definitely worthwhile. Obviously, we're going to talk about spoilers too because we have a lot to talk about this film and a lot in the messages of this film, so you've been warned. Background information: Frozen 2 was released this year in 2019. It is the last Disney film that was released in theaters this year, and it is the last Disney film that I'm going to currently review for the rest of this year. But I was excited to see it. I adore the cast. It is filled with amazing, amazing, amazing actors and singers, and they're true Broadway stars, so they can do it all. Idina Menzel returns as Elsa, Christian Bale returns as Anna, Jonathan Groff is Kristoff, and Josh Gad, my personal favorite, is Olaf. And Olaf is my favorite character of the series, as I state here. You're a favorite in the Frozen group. I won't tell Elsa and Anna. I have bracelets for them when I see them tomorrow. But you're my favorite. I really do hope Olaf appreciated that. But even this time, I really loved the progression of what they did. Music was written by Bobby Lopez and Christian Anderson Lopez. They are a really awesome team that are married to each other, and I always love to bring it up just because of the fact that last time they have done amazing shows such as Avenue Q, which is completely the opposite of what Frozen is, and I just laugh at it. I did it last time, so I don't need to show it off again, but it's in the original Frozen review, so if you want to go into more detail, click that link below and you'll get more details. I went into this movie with no expectations. I knew the plot was about them finding another land, but I thought that they were going to go and find another person that had wind powers instead of ice powers for the seasons. This would have been a gateway to finding people that are like Elsa, that are the different seasons. She's basically controlling winter with her ice powers, and the idea was that we're gonna find someone that can control wind and have fall powers. And I was excited for this, and this did not go according to what I thought, but it was even better. I really admire the direction they went into the story. I really, really love how they molded the characters, and then we did get a lot more character development. And ironically, I'm a bigger fan of Elsa now, which is very strange. She just seems very mature, very quiet. She's very introverted compared to Anna, who is super extroverted, but I actually got really annoyed by Anna. And normally I would relate more to Anna because I'm a really extroverted person and can be a little bit obnoxious, but I actually appreciated Elsa a lot more. I liked how quiet she was, that she was better to keep to herself, and that she's very independent. And I really liked those factors when it comes to a princess, well, a queen in her case. And I loved that they did not have to focus on a romantic storyline for her. Anna is able to keep on developing her relationship with Kristoff, and it comes to the point where he wants to ask her hand in marriage and doesn't know how to do it and doesn't know how to find the perfect moment. And that's one of his arcs in this film, is him making sure that their love is still there and that it is the right decision. And there is songs about that, and he does get a really great song about that, which is done in a really awesome 80s ballad. The animation in this movie was fantastic, and I love how experimental they were. Anna's basically focused on chasing Elsa and making sure she's taking care of Elsa because she doesn't want to lose her family again. And it's understandable because she spent so many years being alone, and now she has something and she doesn't want to let it go. And I really love how mature this movie was. I love the direction they went into it because it really does reflect about how you have to grow up, and change is important. One of the first songs that they have is "Nothing's Going to Change" and everything's going to stay the same no matter what changes. And of course that leads into the whole plot where everything changes and everything will never be the same again. But it just reflects life so much, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that even though, like I said, they focused on Kristoff and Anna's relationship, Elsa is her own independent queen. She don't need nobody. She can handle herself. And that's so important because I feel like, especially for Disney, they focus so much on relationships and fairy tales and finding true love. And I really love how progressive this film is and the story that she is able to run her own palace and become a true queen and be okay being with herself, and that she has her family to back her up, but she doesn't need anything, and she is confident in herself and she can run the world legitly. And I really, really, really love what they did, and I love her character even more now, and that the struggles that she dealt with were all internal, and at the end she really loves herself and is able to overcome all the fear, take control of her powers and take control of herself and be fierce. And she's definitely one of my characters now because of all the challenges that they've thrown at her and that she's overcome. Olaf is still the comedic relief. I love him dearly, and the jokes are still very funny, and anything Josh Gad says, he does it with such a great charm and flair that it is hilarious. And with his arc, he deals with a lot of growing up too, because he's been a snowman for a while. He's maturing. It is very meta when it comes to him. And one of my favorite scenes that was in the film was that when they're meeting these new characters in a new village that they end up going to, he basically recaps everything that happens in the first Frozen to the new villagers in the most meta way possible, and that was amazing. And I just love how the film was able to make fun of them themselves. And ironically, a lot of the film this time, especially when it came to Olaf lines, reminded me of how they make fun of themselves in the Frozen sing-along down in Hollywood Studios. And they do that all the time. Literally the same thing happened with Olaf.
They died?
Yeah.
Dead parents? Oh, what is this, Bambi? The Lion King or Finding Nemo or Cinderella or Tarzan or Coco?
He's standing in the corner just saying, the parents died. Brilliance. I love it. I really, really love that they were able to poke fun at themselves and basically reflect everything about the overhyped circumstances that everyone had Frozen fever. But this film is just completely different. It's so mature and it's really awesome because these kids are growing up too, but then we're having a new audience where all these kids are seeing it. And I love that they focus on these issues because it shows that you can show anyone serious issues and they will understand it, and it's better that we're able to talk about it instead of just bottling it up, because we deal with a lot of grief in this movie. We deal with growing up, we deal with becoming mature and things changing, and you can't stay the same forever, and you need to change in order to grow, and better things will come ahead, but you have to let go. And I love, love, love that message. I believe in that message wholeheartedly. So it's awesome, and this film obviously was so much better than the first one, and it's a rare thing that happens. Most of the time the first films always are better and the sequels fall flat, but no, this was outstanding. There was so much more character development that was able to be done, and in such a mature light, that it just knocked it out of the park. And I definitely see this getting so many awards this upcoming year. The songs were fantastic. It was a little heavy on the songs, honestly, but they were all really great. I don't think they're as good as the first film overall. the first film songs, which is really, really catchy. And I'm sure, just like I mentioned before with Mary Poppins and other films that came out as sequels, that I never really caught on to the music, but then the more I listened to it, I did. Into the Unknown, I really do like already, but besides that, nothing really caught my attention. But I really liked the message that the lyrics had. The rest of them kind of just blended in together. I was really more impressed with the storyline. I would have really liked it too, even if it was just a straight story and didn't have the musical elements of it. But we do have amazing Broadway talent, so of course they're going to show off their vocal range. They did wrap the story up really, really well, and I loved the way it ended, but obviously we know this is Frozen and this is Disney, and Disney loves to milk everything for what it's worth, so we know that even though they say it could be a potential end, it's not. And I actually would love to see more of these spin-offs and shorts with Frozen, and I actually would like to see a third Frozen, because I was really impressed with the way they designed the story, that it still left it open to see what happens in the future, because we could continue on and see how Anna and Kristoff raise a child together, how Elsa's gonna be as a aunt, and how she's running the palace and how Anna's running the palace. And I think it'd be really cool to continue on, and I'm really invested in these character stories, and they did a fantastic, amazing job. And I'm back to being a really good fan again, because they impressed me, and that takes a lot, especially when I was so annoyed with how much Frozen was around. But they've earned it. They did a fantastic job, and I really adore this movie, and I will be excited to watch it again in a little while. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And until next time, I hope you guys have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.